Okay, welcome back here. It is June 15th. We're going to go over here and look at the S&P 500. Just want to make sure you see the risk disclosure here, and it really is important that you understand the risks that are involved in trading futures. So really no surprises today. Things pretty much went like we thought they would go today. So some pretty decent, well, if you go back, remember we talked about we had 58 quarter. That was a target that we'd given up here overnight. About midnight Pacific time, they hit 58 quarter and then some pretty decent selling from that point. Nothing crazy, about 30 points down here, actually 30 points to the tick down to there. So nothing real crazy here. What happened? You can really just see a couple of things here. So we have this 55 and traded a little bit up above that, but we also had yesterday 59 three quarters, I believe, or 59 quarter. And so we came within a point of the CP up there from yesterday. And then things kind of are in this with prediction points are kind of from one day to another day kind of moving, like it's a transitioning over, and sometime the next day's prediction points kind of start to take precedence. So what did we see? We saw they held here and then a nice move down at the open, and it was really what we thought we would see. Once they came down here, you see these highlighted areas. These were areas that I highlighted that were of interest to me, and you can see we had one other one down here. And what I told our map members is that this area right down here would be important for whatever was next, this 28 to 26, and we talked about that earlier in the pre-market video. So this is not really a surprise that they came down here. The CP at 28 ended up holding within a tick. It was right in this little demand area that we'd drawn in, and then came back and tested this to the tick, and then a pretty nice move up there. And where did it move back to? It moved right back up into this area and tried that 3 different times and couldn't really get out of there. So this, we would expect that they're going to try and come back up and test here during the day. Uh, well, let's say at least back to this area. So I said 46 area in map, that we could easily see that they'd want to make a run back to test that. So this area actually is going to be really important in the bigger picture here, probably on a closing basis, meaning how does the market close? And what we saw today is the market came down here, touched this, and then took off out of this area. And that was that. And so on a daily closing basis, that's probably something we're going to want to keep an eye on, is what happens in that area. So we'll keep an eye on that. So let's go look at, oh, and one other thing. I mean, if you notice, basically once we had this move down here and it came into this zone, I mean, today was pretty lackluster, and once we came down in here, it just basically back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and that was all there, pretty much all it was. So we talked about consolidating, moving a bit lower, and then eventually moving back up again. But really, this is just kind of all sideways in here. And the fact that we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prediction points within a 10-point range was pretty much a dead giveaway about that before. So that means to me the lower it gets into this range, the more likely I am to buy it and look for a move back up out of here and expect that it's going to be a bit kind of like it was here. So again, prediction points do what they really always do. And so now here's today. So bit different story here today. So we have this 2850. What you're going to notice is there's this 26 quarter and then 2450, which is also the low from Monday. So today is Tuesday, and 24 half was the low from Monday. So that's coincidental that it's the low. It just, so right here, see? So that's coincidental that it's the low. It's the prediction point there has nothing to do with that. I'm just pointing out that they are, it's purely coincidental. So let's go look here. So if they're able to hold in, any of these down here, and again, it kind of tells the same story. We'll get rid of these now since that's kind of all played out here. But it still really does tell the same story here for the most part, that this area is going to be a bit of a slower, kind of a congestion, probably not a whole lot happening in that area, just more of the same. But if they were to get up out of this area, there's some room all the way up here to 65 and all the way up to 82. But if they were to break down here, this 24.5, notice how things really start to open up down into here. So that's why I said this area that I was pointing out in here is going to be pretty important on a daily basis to see what actually happens. How are they able to finish things out and close out for the day? So that gives you a little idea of what we're looking for into Globex here and going into tomorrow's session. Of course, I'll be here in the morning. I'll do a pre-market walkthrough. We'll see how everything plays out here in the overnight session, and that'll certainly help us and give us some answers here. But that's really, I mean, the prediction points did their job today. They pretty much told us exactly what was going to happen, and then that pretty much happened more or less within a tick. And things went exactly like we would expect them to, given the context that prediction points gave us for the day. So there you have it, and we will be back here in the morning. Thanks for being here today, and we'll see you in the morning in the pre-market walkthrough, and enjoy your evening.